Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are live on FOL TV and Prime FM 105.5 in Monrovia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In part one of our show today, we're going to be having an exclusive interview with upcoming musical sensation Jesslyn, LiSa Williams, and his manager, Governor Christopher A. Dennis Jr. And this is our spotlight on LiSa, who is really a rising star, and we thought to give her the spotlight today. Joining me is my man at Anchor in Monrovia, that's Prince Moba, who is at Prime Evan. Prince, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis, for joining me here again tonight. It's great to be together, and I hope that this program will again yield all the needed fruits for the listening public. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you, and I want to introduce first Christopher A. Dennis, who is the manager of this rising superstar. Chris, welcome to Focus on Liberia, and I'm delighted to have you. This is your first time on FOL. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here. And also, I'd like to say good afternoon, good evening to your valued viewers.
Last but definitely not the least, and Chris, let me remind you that because this is your first time on Focus on Liberia, we want to give you a bottle of water and say welcome and feel at home.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm also proud to welcome Jesslyn LiSa Williams, who is the superstar of the night tonight. LiSa, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Great. LiSa is joining us from Senko in Monrovia. She is the reason for this show, the part one of this show. We're going to be talking to LiSa. And again, LiSa is... I started hearing about LiSa from the Icon that she won, and it's been going on. I follow her just a tiny little bit, but we're going to be hearing more about LiSa. Let me first give the floor to Chris, who is the manager of LiSa, to first introduce LiSa and tell me how you met this young lady.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis. And again, good afternoon and good evening to your valued viewers. Well, just to get into it, I met LiSa through a very good, and I'll say a strange friend who happened to be Mr. Alex Divine. I met him over, the social media platform. I have not seen him in person, but I have a very, very, very special place in my heart for him because he's a good man and he's a very trustworthy individual. So there are still, good people and honest people still around in the world, and Alex happened to be the guy. So he introduced me to LiSa, and he's been going back and forth with me for a while. And I eventually said, okay, let's connect with LiSa and see what she got. However, he sent me some of her videos and some of her songs, and I saw it. I listened to it, and I was very, very impressed with what I heard. And she has a golden voice, and we started engaging, and today here we are.
Thank you.
And just to correct there, Dennis, so even though her name is LiSa William, but I don't want her to, scold me when we get off this interview. So we'll just go by Jesslyn. That's her stage name, and that's the name that is much more popular out there.
Thank you, Chris. Jesslyn, again, welcome. So before I even go to Jesslyn, I mean, what are you doing for which Alex is introducing Jesslyn to you? What is your role?
Well, actually, I came in not knowing what it would be like, But after listening to um, Jesslyn, I felt that she got a very great talent, and I believe that her talent can be easily killed, or it can be greatly inspired by so many people across the world. So after working with LiSa for some time, and I said, you know what, I think we can push this thing. I think we can get LiSa to where she should be, and we've been working on a lot of different things, making sure that we can get her branded and getting her to the world stage. So that's what we're doing right now.
Right. And Chris, I know you for some time now. You're a TV guy. You anytime they say, "Oh, this guy runs or like television," people are all over the world. People are associated with Global Net. Now you
Right.
are in music business. Tell me how you made that transition and how you got how what are you going to do for Jesslyn now?
Yes, even though I own GlobalNet ITV, today, guess what? We're not talking about GlobalNet ITV, but rather we're talking about Jesslyn. Now, we're not really into a transition stage. GlobalNet ITV provides, entertainment to businesses and to residents. And I think it really intertwined with what we're doing into the record business now. And what we want to do is to get Jesslyn on the
Jesslyn.
world stage.
Okay.
And in order to do that, we want to really see how we can properly present her to the world, to the Liberian people. We, encourage every Liberian to get her song, to play the song, follow her on all of the social media platform. Um, Mind Game is her single that was just released on the 4th of May and is all on all of the streaming platforms out there. What we're trying to do and how I'm going to push LiSa is basically, promoting her,
Thank you.
getting her into many doors as much as possible.
Thank you. And before I bring on Lisa, I know we played a song from the beginning of at the beginning of the show, but I want to play a little clip of Mind Games so that you can watch it before. And that song is going to introduce Lisa. Take a listen.
It's that King Beats. Knock, knock, I've been knocking for hours. 2 shots, I've been sitting in the shower. My mind hits when my heart is going under. It ain't right, boy, you got me no wonder. You could say I complete you. You could say you want me to. But boy, you have me settling. Even though you're tripping, now I gotta be me. Tired playing your mind games. Don't wanna play your mind games. Na 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 na. My games, my games. It's alright, cause I'm done playing games. I don't mind, cause I'm the one to blame. You didn't hurt, there you go lying again. When you left, there was nothing but shame. Shame on you, your mama, your friends, the lies you always told. I never knew the gifts and kiss was nothing but a show. But who's gonna miss me now? And who's gonna be begging now?
I don't
I
want to
deserve much more. Should I?
I don't want to forget the show because I was carried away by the song. Lisa, welcome to the show again. Just to start, just tell me
Thank
a
you.
little
Thank you
bit
so much.
about yourself. This is my first time meeting you. Chris sent me the song I played, and I've been playing it ever since. Just a little bit about yourself for my viewers to know you a little bit more.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you for the opportunity and nice meeting you.
Thank you.
So my full name is LiSa Jesslyn Williams, but on the stage, my stage name is Jesslyn. My artist name is Jesslyn. I am currently studying my master's at the University of Liberia School of Public Health, where I'm majoring in health system management and policy making. I am also an uprising artist, as you earlier stated. I My passion for music has been drawn from the fact that I see other country music, I listen to other people, other country music, I admire them, but I see why is it that our music isn't to the level that these people music are. Their music are going out there is encouraging and attracting investors, but yet ours is just here, stationed here in the country. So I'm this passionate lover of music, and I feel like this is a tool that God has given me to be a part of the impact and the change I want to make in my country, because I feel like my music could get a lot of investors. My music could inspire tourists into this country, and their involvement will also help develop this nation.
Wow. Wow. And
Yeah.
really, I'm listening to this. I'm saying, okay, this is our music. This is Liberia, right? So that's
Yes.
phenomenal. Let me ask you, when you started singing, I mean, you just get into this and you this good? I mean, when you started and how
So
you got into
um
it?
basically my mom is the reason why I'm doing this right now. So I didn't know from the onset that I could sing, and every time I tell people, they be like, that's not true, but that's actually the truth. I didn't know that I could sing. I was in the 12th grade, about to graduate from high school, before my mom practically dragged me to her church for choir practice, and boom, she started grooming me from there, and it happened. Then
Wow.
I started going for a couple of competitions because I was this shy person. I needed to get out of my shell, so I started going for competitions, and now I'm here.
Well, and one of those competition that I heard about is the Icon, and
Yes, yes,
you
that
came
was the
on top.
competition.
Tell me about that experience briefly.
That was the competition that actually brought me to the spotlight, because all along it was just little ones from behind the scenes. But when I joined Akon, and let me fun fact, when I got there that day for the meeting, oh my god, I was freaking out. I was minding my business, and my friend called me. He was like, "I registered you for this competition, and you should go check it out. They are having a meeting by one the same day. Imagine." So I went there, and when you enter somewhere and you see a lot of faces that have been into the music game, and I can really see the nervousness. I got scared. I was like, "What am I even doing here?" But you know, I calmed myself down, and then I decided to go through the process because it was really, really important. And I can say today that it wasn't a mistake. It was something that I will never ever regret. Because if not for the Icon, I wouldn't have met Mr. Divine, and Mr. Divine wouldn't have introduced me to Mr. Dennis. Yeah.
Well, did you you did a song? What some of the songs you sang on the Icon? Was that the like somebody's song with family? Was that one of them?
No,
Oh, okay. But
those
because
were
I
just
was
covers.
watching
I
your
did
app.
two covers.
Okay.
Yeah, I did two covers. Sinner by AG Baby, and Somebody's Song by Tiwa Savage. They were
Yeah.
just covers that I did for Britney.
Because that's somebody, and I'll bring in Prince right now. But I was looking, kind of looking for you on the internet, and I saw you doing that song, somebody's song. I'm not a singer, so I don't know whether you sang it, the way they sang it, or you put a little twist on it.
Yes, I had to put Kolokwa in it. We can.
Hey, and that one blew me away. So our and one of it was I think Sinner again.
Yes, Sinner.
All right, let me see this somebody song. Let me take a listen.
It's just lit. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Should I try it again? But now my heart it's happy. Oh, that's it where you do to me. Oh boy, you got me on my knees. Tired of getting it wrong. This won't be another heartbreak song. Yeah, somebody's gonna find me one day. One day, I don't know where to stay too far away. One day, somebody's gonna find me one day. One day, I don't know where to stay too far away. One day, yeah. Somebody's gonna find me one day. One day, somebody's gonna find me one day. One day. Worried, I'm not worried. Me, I'm not looking for embrace. Who wants settle for whatever?
Wow, Chris, where you got where you did you spot this talent, based on what you saw or how you came to the point that said, yes, this I'm gonna do this. I want to hear that story because this is blowing me in a way that she's so
I want
good.
to hear it too.
Yes, Dennis, it's a good, really good question you're asking, because the music industry in Liberia is really thriving, and we're doing well, and we're getting there. But every time when I listen to Liberian songs, and I hear people say, we're trying, oh, we're getting there, we're trying, right? So when are we going to graduate from trying or did well, you know, to do it better and much more on an international level, right? And I was thinking about this because a couple weeks ago, I was outside the country, and I would listen to African songs, on the plane, on the cruise, and I said, "Wow, but I love this, but we don't have any Liberian songs among this, right?" And so during that time, I was in conversation with Jesslyn. So I said to myself, she have a very great voice. She has a good talent, and that is so amazing. We can get her to where she needs to be, as well as showcasing Liberian talent that we can do this. We are good at this, not just trying all the time or we're getting there. So, listening to her voice and looking at what we've been able to do as Liberians in Liberia and outside of Liberia, we want to really showcase exactly what Liberian music are and how we can intertwine it with European music as well. So she has a very special genre of her kind of song,
Mhm.
that she's singing. So just like we have, the president, he plays soccer at his best, and people got to know Liberia through, President Weir, right? There are some other talents that are out there. But what about the music category? How can we scale this? How can we expand it? So Jesslyn is being in the forefront to get her there so that tomorrow we see her on BT, we see her on um, the Grammys, and that's what we're pushing for. I know she can do it because she have the talent, and we're encouraging every Liberian to listen to her music, play her music out there, go on the streaming platform, buy the music. Let's not copyright. Let's not, bootleg. Let's do it the right way because I know that we have the talent, and Jesslyn, she has the talent. Also, she will be dropping up, the July 26th song. And even though we're not playing it today, but man, it really, bring the different counties together. It brings, the culture of Liberia. It showcases as well, the beautiful side of Liberia as well. rather than we always hearing, the bad things of Liberia.
Yeah.
So I think, she's on the right track and she's on it and we are going to get it. So we're encouraging everybody who are listening to the program or who will listen later on to, play the song, go onto her website, and check her out. Go to all of her social media pages, like her page, follow her, and that's how we're going to get there.
Right.
Nigerians are doing this, Ghanaians are
Okay.
doing this, and they are supporting, each other. So why don't we do it as well?
Great. And Chris, I'll come back to you to see the next steps. But let me bring in Prince Mobile in Monrovia. And by the way, people are already commenting. Dwight Portsey, golden voice. And my wife says she's good. So when my wife tells you you
Thank
are
you.
good, that means it's very good. Because
Thank you.
Constant want your know say I have a great singer too. So Constant is pitching something here now. And Solomon Reeves, Jesslyn, I'm listening to the interview. FOL, great music. So Prince,
Thank you.
uh, how is Jesslyn doing in Monrovia? And if you have any comment or question for Jesslyn.
Thank you. Let me say, just how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. And now, I think with you tonight on the radio, have not heard this music before. I've not even heard about you before. So let me say thanks to the FOL family for bringing you on the show tonight. I mean, you are indeed a great singer. Let me say thanks so much for the golden voice. Let me say thank God for you as an
Thank you.
emerging gospel musician in Liberia. So I don't know whether the question will be for you or for the manager, because I mean I followed gospel musician like we were before coming to Prime FM. So work with Liberty Radio. It's a gospel musical radio station that feature most of the gospel musical artists in Liberia. But the challenging thing has been how the industry can grow. People are not yet interested in investing into the musical industry in Liberia, be it the gospel musician or even the secular musician. It's not just easy. So, Chris, I'd like to know what are you putting together, not just for Jesslyn, but for Liberians, gospel musicians in general? That the industry that Liberians, what can you tell Liberians that they should be interested into or investing into musician, gospel musician, that in doing so can also reap more resources for not just the singer, but also for the person who does the investment. What can you say in that direction? Then I come up with one more
Um,
question. Yeah.
oh, okay, thank you very much there, Prince. So, yeah, so Jocelyn is actually, not really a gospel musician, but she's actually, an African soul,
Afro Soul. Yeah.
so we sort of Afro soul musician, and that's a really, fine category. And as you can hear her song, how it plays. So what we're trying to do is, like I said, I didn't know her from the beginning. And what about nobody had reached out to her? She's striving. At the end of the day, her talents dies, and that's it, right? So I said, let's get this going. She has a great talent. Let's get her on the world stage. Sometimes, we are not respected in our own homes, right? But we want to change the dynamics of that, making sure that Liberians, encouraging Liberians to support your own, support your own people. And it doesn't mean that you cannot support other music or other countries' music, but let's support our own. Let's put our hands around it. Jesslyn will be going to a competition very soon. And as part of the criteria to meet that
You mean challenge? You mean the
challenge,
challenge, right? Yeah.
right? So she need to have at least about 1 million followers, right? So how can we scale that? We have thousands of Liberians across the world and even listen to the program. Is by going to her social media pages, making sure that they're following her and they're liking her pages as well. And also, she is trying to put Liberia on the map. Okay, even though Liberia is already on the map, but she's trying to make sure that her voice is able to get to the places that Liberian songs have not, gotten to. And we all we need to do is to continue to promote our own, right? And the quality of music that we're playing should be at international standard. So there are a lot of engineering and background work that we're doing along with her, some of which is new to her, but she's getting along. She's a very fast learner. She's a very talented lady, and she's a professional as well. So coupling that together, we want to make sure that we let Liberians know, let's support your own.
Mm.
Don't wait for the success to happen before you support. Be a part of that journey. Be a part of the success.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me ask Jocelyn one question. So, Jocelyn, prior to you meeting Chris Dennis, I mean, how was it like for you in Liberia? What were you thinking? Seeing yourself where you are now, and the next into that question is, I mean, how do you manage? I mean, developing your songs. Do you just sometimes just write songs and then your manager helps you develop it, or I mean, where do you get your inspiration from to come up with music?
Okay, thank you. So proud to meeting Mr. Dennis. I have a friend in my family. They have been really, really supportive, and Mr. Divine as well. He too has been very supportive. These people has been my backbone. They were the one that pushed me to the icon, like I said, from where I came, the permanence that I have right now. So it was through my family, my friends that helped me and pushed me to where I am. And then I met Mr. Divine, who is also taking me to a higher height. And for my writings, normally I get inspired from piano piano music, right? So if I want to write, I will go online, type in a slow, soft, soothing sound, playing in the background, and I just write. So far, all the songs that I have right now, the ones that I'm working on, the one that I put out, they were all written and developed by me.
So you write mind games.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that song. How you came up with that, and what is mind game? Somebody play mind games on you?
So this is interesting because mind games is something that we faced in our everyday life. To be honest, I think you sitting there, someone has played mind games on you. It might not be in a
You're playing it right
relationship.
now on
It,
me.
it may not be in a relationship, but it might be at your work. It might be at some idea that you had. So people have this tendency of playing on people's intelligence. They will want to make you feel like what you're saying is not the right thing or what you're doing is not the right thing. But this song was basically written from an experience, and the message that the song carries is it's a story about a young, beautiful young lady like myself
Yeah.
who who has been through relationship issues in life, and she felt like at some point she was losing herself, and it's about time that she take on her confidence and move on with boldness, not allowing anybody to play on her anymore. She's this changed person, and she's gonna step out.
Wow.
No more mind games. you know
What a
it's
what a
like an
message.
item for women. It's an item for women that you should believe in yourself and don't let anybody you know
No, that's a great message for men too, because sometimes men are being playing the same mind game, but it's still they
Okay.
think they acting tough, but now it really eating them. So guess who's begging now?
And who's
That's
gonna be
right.
backing now?
Guess
Like
who
when
on
you
their
know your
knees?
worth, you won't have to be going through anything like this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow, I like that. And Chris, anyone watching this now, what are the next steps for Jesslyn? What do you want Liberians and anyone listening to watching this now or later to do to support this? And where do you intend? What are some of the next steps? Where do we that you intend to take Jesslyn in the non too distant future?
Yes. So, what I want to say, to your viewers and to, Liberians across the globe, and other, nationals as well that are listening and will be hearing, Jesslyn as she, ascend into her career, is to continue to promote Liberian music, to continue to promote her music as well. Follow her, on all of her social media pages. Follow her on her website, and also we want to make sure that you're keeping in touch with her. All of her social media platform, including TikTok, they are all active. She normally interact with, her fans. And importantly, our next move and next step is we are currently working on Jesslyn coming, to the U.S. To perform at a few events that we're already have lined up for her, and she can do a tour across the U.S. as well as Canada. That's the first step that we're working on, and also recording deals for her as well. We're working on that. She's very good at writing as well. She writes very, very well in terms of how she wants to deliver her music. So her music is very authentic, and that's what people want. It resonates with all, genre of people, all different, walls of people as well. Like you heard her say, mind game. That is not only based on relationship, but the different challenges that we face every day. And we want to make sure that Liberians go out there, support her music, follow her on all of her social media platform. Like I said, she's going to be, signing up for a very, very big international, competition as well that is coming up. And how do we get her there? We want to get her there, but we need the numbers to be able to get there. And I know that Liberians can do this. Liberians can do this because it's not that it's not you. Let this not be about oneself. Let it be about somebody else. Let's push somebody else up there so that tomorrow she will look back and say, this is where I came from. And she can also expand that by helping other, uprising, musicians that she can help to mentor and all of that. And that's the reason why we have Divine on our team. He's a very, very great guy. He's been mentoring her, so we kept him in that position for some of the challenges that she may face along the way, as well as myself, whilst I'm working on other opportunities for her.
Thank you. And talking about Alex Divine, he's so the ICOM is a musical competition, just like in the States we have the American Idol and stuff like that. And for the first time, he put that up. He's been doing currently his organization is doing debates, high school debate. He's doing all kinds of competitions. And it was through this that we have Jesslyn come up, who, by the way, was the first winner of the ICOM when they just tried it. And so that is good. So Jesslyn, I know we are about to close. Talk to Liberians watching this broadcast. I know Prince asked you, before you met Chris and Alex, how was it like? And we all know what the challenges are in Liberia, and sometimes you have talents. That really, I too are supposed to be a very good football player because in my village, I used to play very well, but I didn't have the opportunity of meeting someone like Chris. So tell me, what we want Liberians to know who are watching you and what you need from all of us so as to take your career to the next level.
Sure. So once again, thank you so much, and thank you everyone that's watching from the States, from here. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support thus far. And
Um,
so, as Mr. Dennis was saying, the plan is to take Liberian music out to the world. What do we need to take it out to the world?
Dennis, can you hear me?
Yes, we're having some issue there.
Yeah, yeah, I think your internet is giving problem.
So, Chris, while we wait for Jesslyn to come back,
Yeah.
let's get your parting comments.
Yes, so
Uh, I'm so sorry.
okay, she's
So,
back.
Jesslyn, we're having trouble
The
with
internet
your
here
connection.
is crazy. The internet here is crazy. But as I was saying, right, we this is like a teamwork. I cannot do this on my own. I need the help and the efforts of everyone. I need you guys' support. As Mr. Dennis was saying, we cannot do this by ourselves. We need the support. We need the numbers. We need the followings. My Instagram account is it's Jesslyn ITZ JESSLYN. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube. It's the same thing. Facebook as well. Even TikTok. We need to grow the page because the more people we have, the more engagements, the better chance we stand at getting our music across. This is not about me. My aim here is to be able to work with every other artist here in Liberia so we can push the Liberian music to the market. And I feel like I cannot do it without you guys. I really
Thank you. Chris, your closing comments.
Yes, so I just want to, thanks for having us. And again, we want to continue to promote Jesslyn. We want to make sure that we can get her there. That's part of having, a manager or a team of support. Yet and still, we still need all of the support. Let's gather around this young woman with all of this talent she has. Let's do it. We can do it. Let's not all the time say we were going to stand on the side. We will wait to see what happened before we can get on board. Let's be a part of this success story so that tomorrow we can say, I was a part of it and I am a part of it as well. So let's continue to support her, follow her, grab her audio, do a TikTok video as well, post it, tag her on it, as well as Instagram as well, and on Facebook. Let's continue to support her. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Constance says she is great. Dwight also said this is why I watch FOL. You guys find the diamond in the rough and do your best to showcase your known folks in Liberia. So again, Jocelyn, I know you had some trouble there. So just for the last 30 seconds, you can close, please.
yeah. Yeah. God. The internet is crazy tonight. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Are you people
Yeah, we're hearing
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
All right. In part two of our show tonight, we're going to have on the superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, Professor Isaac C. Lakbo Zawolo. Is going to be joined by FOL education analyst, Mr. Sizi Goyah. That will be part two of our show tonight. So we want to thank Chris and Jesslyn for coming. Before we go, we're going to play that song again. That's going to introduce our next guest on the show. Again, thank you so much. And Jesslyn, we're going to keep in touch, Chris. Everywhere we're here to help promote. That's our goal here. Educate, elevate, and promote all things like Europe. By the way, in case you are joining us and you don't know, and we play this all the time, and I'm going to play it, and guess who's talking?
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
And let me put in a plug here for Chris. The voice you heard, that's the voice of this guy, multi-talented Christopher A. Dennis. I've been knowing this guy for the past 30 years. And we're glad to have you, Chris. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for Jesslyn. And Jesslyn, 30 seconds. You can conclude and then we'll turn to our next group.
Thank
Jesslyn,
you
are
so
you there?
much, Dennis.
All right, thank you.
I'm not. I'm still struggling back here. The internet is very. I'm not
Go ahead,
hearing you.
Jesslyn. We're hearing you.
Jeremy, go ahead. All right. All right. On that note, we're going to say
Hello?
Yes,
hello.
go ahead, Jesslyn. Just go ahead and talk. I think we're still hearing you. You can just conclude as Dennis mentioned.
I think your internet is very bad, and it happens
All
here
right.
most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
So thank you, Jesslyn. We're going to now, or after the song, which is Mind Games, we're going to be switching to our next guest. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jesslyn, and keep it here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
It's that King Beats. Knock, knock, I've been knocking for hours. 2 shots, I've been sitting in the shower. My mind hits when my heart is going under. It ain't right, boy, you got me in no wonder. You could say I complete you. You could say you want me to. But boy, you have me settling. Even though you're tripping, now I gotta be me. Tired playing your mind games. Don't wanna play your mind games. Na 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 na. My games, my games. It's alright, cause I'm the playing games. I don't mind, cause I'm the one to blame. You didn't hurt, there you go lying again. When you left, there was nothing but shame. Shame on you, your mama, your friends, the lies you always told. I never knew the gifts and kiss was nothing but a show.
Hi, my name is Addie Tyler from Pennsylvania, and you're watching Focus on Liberia.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. We are here with our guest, Professor Isaac C. Lakpo Zawolo, a colleague right here from the Virginia school system. Right now, he's in Monrovia, Liberia, the superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System. Professor Zawolo, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Hey, Dennis, thanks for having me on. Focus on Liberia is becoming like a home to me.
Thank you. I also want to welcome a math teacher, Mr. Sizi Goyah, who's also FOL education analyst. Sizi, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. It's nice seeing you again, my brother, Professor Zawolo.
Many times, our 2 teachers, Professor Zawolo and Mr. Goyah, have been on here talking about educational issues. Isaac was appointed superintendent of the MCSS, that's the Monrovia Consolidated School System. We've had him here before on that topic, and tonight we want to talk about MCSS and education in Liberia, especially K through 12. I know he's just he went there, he started doing something, and we want to just touch base with him and see how he's doing. Prince, welcome to the show again. This is part 2, and we are discussing school business, government school in Liberia, Boswan, D12, Tottenham High, all those schools.
Yeah, so let me say, how you doing, Mr. Superintendent? How you doing? Long time we have not seen. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Prince. Nice seeing you here.
All right, so like Dennis said, let me say welcome to the show. I'm sure we're gonna have a great show, especially when we're talking about the MCSS schools. One of the schools I graduated from the William V. High School. So whenever you talk about the MCSS school, I'm so interested in having me forming part of that discussion today has to do with my alma mater. So it's great having you on the show tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go to Sizi, who's going to get the ball rolling.
Professor, it's nice to see you again, like I said, always. And let me say thank you for volunteering and taking on this task in Liberia. A lot of people don't know how much sacrifice people make when they leave the comfort of their homes in the United States to go back to Liberia. to work for our people. And from one teacher to another, I know the sacrifices we make, even in this great United States, is very vast. And so I know the sacrifices you had to make to go back to Liberia is enormous. Like we always say in education, your reward is in heaven, but I wanted to recognize that and say thank you so much for taking on that, and thank you so much for being available for our common homeland, Liberia. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you, Sizi.
Yeah, and having said that, man, I've been seeing you, for the first time. I'm seeing MCSS in a long time. You're on Facebook. I see it everywhere. I'm excited. What's going on? What's good? What are some of the great things that are going on with you, with the MCSS, man? Let's hear some of the success stories.
Well, basically, we are the first and foremost. The reason why I see us all on Facebook, on social media, on all the different platforms, is because of our robust and massive rebranding exercise we initiated immediately upon assuming the superintendent position at the MCSS. We felt that the MCSS over the years had, denigrated, retrogressed to the level that when people spoke about the MCSS, it was mostly in negative terms. So that's one of the reasons why you see MCSS all over. We are rebranded. But look, the MCSS is a system in transition. There have been tremendous changes unfolding within the MCSS. If you were to go back to our Facebook page, you see that transformation. We have a physical transformation, we have the intangible transformation, and we are deliberate in delivering those transformations. I'll tell you three things. One, instructional transformation, which is the purpose of which we have school, academic excellence, to teach. One of the first things I've noticed when I came to the MCSS was the performance of students, academic performance of students. And I tried to, play mind games on people to get to know what was going on. And the mind game wasn't going anywhere. So what we've done, it will surprise you to note that the last graduation exercise for the MCSS schools, the average of our full valedictorian was around 84%. 84% was the average grade of our full valedictorian. Wow. That's extremely concerning. That means the standards have dropped. The student performance have dropped significantly. So what we've been doing is that we don't just sit down and criticize the students. We don't just sit down and blame different factors. We've constituted a committee to go into that. And that committee has a responsibility to put into place programs and activities to remedy that problem. That's one, in instructional area. The second thing we looked at with the MCSS was the infrastructure. We have very old infrastructure. And so what we've done immediately is to engage those old infrastructure. So if you come around the MCSS, you see massive renovation going on simultaneously. I think as I speak to you, we are re-roofing two schools. We are re-roofing the Anna F. Wisner Elementary School around the old military barracks, BDC. And we are also repairing the roof of the Monrovia Demonstration Elementary School. So those two projects are going on simultaneously. Quite recently, we completed a multi-science laboratory at the D12 Memorial High School. And fencing work is going on all across the MCSS. We've repainted and remodeled the central office of the MCSS so that employee can feel comfortable to work. I mean, when I took over, the place was dirty, extremely dirty. I must be very blunt with you. It was extremely dirty. It was not comforting. The carpets were in a very deplorable state. I could not even stand for a very long time in some of the offices. So we've been attacking those legacy issues, issue of infrastructure, issue of post-student performance. And then, what associated with post-student performance was also teachers' commitment and dedication. So we had to address those issues of teacher commitment and dedication. Right now, I can tell you that our programs that we are putting in place has been so successful to the extent that I have 18 teachers right now, surplus, that I'm looking for places to assign in MCSS. And so, we've been engaged in all of the problems. But let me be frank with you. We are years away from salvaging all the problems, all the legacy problems at MCSS. But we'll continue to engage them day by day.
Wow. What caused this problem in the first place? Is it the war, maybe?
The war, no engagement of it. People sometimes, the way we do a lot of things in our country is by hearsay, anecdotes. We do not get down into the research. We do not look at the data. When I assumed the leadership of MCSS, they didn't even have a student information management system. It was the one that was totally dysfunctional. Collecting basic memo from one office to another office had to be sent by paper. And somebody had to get in the vehicle to drive to different schools to drive the memos there. So there was no data collection. So decisions being made was not informed by data. It was just haphazardly done. And so all those things, created the lapses within the system that caused that general neglect and put the system in a state of total disrepair.
So, Prof, you and I, we're math people. So talking about data gets me excited. I got my antenna up. If there was such a lack of data, I'm interested in hearing from you. How did you get to assign the association or the causation for the lowering of the GPA for your valedictorian? So did we have a way to look to see, okay, is this purely instructional? And if it is instructional, is it based on the teacher's instruction or the students retaining their instruction, or is it community, or is it a marriage of all of those things? How did you get to that point?
So we haven't gotten to the point yet to find out the reason. That's why we set up a 15-man committee. The 15-man committee should be finishing its work at the end of July as we prepare to reopen school in September. So the committee will submit its report to me at the end of July. And once I receive that report, I will begin to implement. The committee is instructed to not just identify problems. They are also supposed to be recommending solutions. So I haven't reached through. But here's the thing. I've engaged students. I've engaged teachers. I've engaged counselors. I've engaged the community people. In fact, on the 15-man committee, we have students, we have central office administrators, we have teachers, we have parents, we have community members. So it's a community thing. And so I've engaged all of those stakeholders, and they have provided different reasons for the performance. And I'm not going to take them at face value. That's why I constituted a committee, and the committee will do its work. Like I said, every decision at the MCSS will be informed by data.
Talking about that, let me play a video, and I don't recognize this school anymore. Take a listen.
Well, this is the historical William V.S. Totman High School, and
just a little clip there. Because is that really Totman High School?
That's Totman High School.
What went wrong?
There's massive renovation. The state of neglect for years was neglected. It's embarrassing to see the state of some of those buildings, but it's been neglected for years. And so that's one of the things I came in and told the people. At the end of the day, at the end of my 4-year tenure, if my granddaughters cannot enroll, if the schools are not decent enough for my granddaughters to enroll in them, then I failed. Yeah, it's deplorable. It's depressing. It's disheartening. I'll be frank with you. We are engaged in those issues already. One of the first things we did at the William V.S. Totman High School was to repair a fence that was broken down 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And so at the back of the school, the fence was broken down, and thieves was using it as an entry point to come at night and steal the decks and steal almost everything you had in the building. So the institution had to constantly be buying things that they already had to have to repair that fence. There's also UNIDO is also doing some work improving the vocational sector. And good thing is that the project also provided for them to help with some renovation in the front of the building. We also have an IRISE grant going on that have been doing some massive renovation at Totman High. We have been repairing doors that have not been repaired for 20, 30 years. We put in windows that were broken like 20 years ago, replacing those windows, and shutters will be repainted and, just totally renovating the place. So we're doing our best to restore it to pre-war levels, and then from there we try to push it to the next level.
So, Superintendent, so let's talk a little bit about some data that already exists. The West African examination data that is supposed to be used to measure student achievement and student growth. Have you, because I know you've been very busy, I've been following you, you've been very busy, there's a whole lot you're chewing at the same time. So I know we will understand if you haven't gotten to that, but I'm just curious to pick into your brains a little bit. Have you looked at that data? And if yes, how are you using that to inform your ideas around staff training and teachers qualification and curriculum updates and students involvement? How are you using those? That because that's the data that's already available and it's been there for a long time.
Yeah. So yes, indeed, I looked at the data, and we've had some problems areas. We have problems in interestingly, we have problems in English and literature. We have problems in chemistry, physics, and biology. And geography has been some concerns. So one of the things we've already put a team together to begin developing instructional models and providing training for the teachers for the next school year. Because I was appointed in November. I assumed office. I took office in January. In December, I had to come back, and I returned to Liberia at the beginning of February. So this year is basically gone. But we have put the teams of people together already. We are working on instructional materials. We want to customize it to our country and making sure that we hit those points that we believe may not be hit. And so this between July and September, there'll be a series of workshops. We'll be training the trainers and we'll be training the teachers. One of the other things I've done in the MCSS is I restructured the supervisory system. So the supervisory system was mostly responsible for administrative supervision of schools. So I transformed that into both administrative and content-specific supervision. So I have supervisors who are supervising compliance and maintenance, administration, and I have supervisors who are supervising the delivery of the content. And so we put the teams together. So we have identified those 5 areas I listed as problem areas, and we targeted those areas between July to September of this year. That's one of the reasons why we have decided to construct science laboratory at each of our schools. We have 4 high schools present within MCSS. We've just completed the model lab. We're in the process of replicating at the remaining 3 high schools, and hopefully the other school that's going to be a high school, Boston, which is being promoted to a high school. So we're going to replicate it. So we're going to bring in a science lab there. We're going to be training the lab demonstrators. We'll be training all of our science teachers, our English and literature teachers. At the moment, in fact, we have a report writing training going on for our principals. So, because you see, when it comes to English, it scares me that English and literature, we having problems in those areas. So I want to address the problem from all the way top to the bottom. So the principals have to speak good English, write good English. So we transfer it to the teachers and down to the students. So those are some of the things that we are doing.
So let's stay with the English. You think what's responsible for that? And because based on the data, you are able to do something. But what really did you find out from that data?
Then I don't want to get in trouble yet. So
all right.
let me let the committee work and submit their report, so that then we have some challenges in our country. I'll be very honest with you. We have many good teachers, but we have some big problems, huge problems. That's why I've indicated by 2028, the minimum eligibility requirement to teach at an MCSS school would be a bachelor's degree and a teaching certificate. I think it's past time that we are hiring high school graduates to teach in our schools, associate degrees to teach in our schools. I think we need to take the level 1 step up. And so that's what we are moving towards. Every MCSS teacher who doesn't have a bachelor's degree teaching at the primary level must enroll beginning the semester in September, must enroll at an AMU university to put themselves on the path to getting a bachelor's degree within 4 years, within 5 years. Otherwise, we will have to have some discussions concerning their employment. We have to improve the standards. Then let the committee come up with a report, and once the committee comes up with a report, I will come on this show to share it. I don't want to compromise it. I don't want to, influence it. I want them to come up with their own findings. But it's scary, really scary.
And Caesar, you look scared now. Go ahead.
well, yeah, because I like the professor's approach, because we are numbers people. We like for the numbers to come out, and then we speak when the numbers come out. So I like that. But one thing I wanted to put out here though is that I grew up around the Tottenham High. My mom owns property on the left side, JJ Roberts side of the Tottenham High. That's where I was raised. That's where but I never went to Tottenham High. But I was always envious of Tottenham High, because that's where we used to go to watch football games on the field. And that's where we used to go to watch people do Meet the Challenge. And when I was living in Cathedral, we used to be afraid when we got Tottenham High and Meet the Challenge. We used to be afraid because there was a powerhouse. And one more testimony, my mom, the lady who raised me, graduated from Tottenham High and got a bookkeeping certificate. Back then, Tottenham High offered those things. Yeah. She used that bookkeeping certificate to work for the National Bank of Liberia throughout, and she was a head teller at the National Bank of Liberia. So my question to you, Professor, is: Do you envision having back those auto lab, auto mechanic, carpentry, bookkeeping that Tottenham High used to offer before in the curriculum, or are those days fast gone and forever?
We still have them, and they're going to get better. We're going to be commissioning those labs in May of this year. I think they said I have to just confirm it. I forgot the date, but we should be commissioning those labs in May of this year. They've been working on it for the last, I think, 2 years. They've been remodeled through some brand with UNIDO and stuff like that. So, but it's been remodeled. So it's going to be better now. But here's the thing. I'm also trying to introduce vocational, technical career education from grade 7 and moving up at all of our schools. I want to start with some of the low-hanging fruits, some of the easier ones that I can easily bring in that do not require a whole lot of machinery and all those kind of expenses. So I'm bringing in fashion design for junior high students. I'm bringing in cosmetology, hairdressing. I'm bringing in drafting. I'm bringing in some form of bookkeeping, accounting at all of our high schools in 2022, 2023. And we'll get to 2023, 2024. We must have all of those things in all of our high schools. That's what I told my students. I don't want them to leave school, the school day to end at 1:30 in the morning. I wanted to go as far as 3 o'clock. When I released my plan to the students at Boston Junior High School, and I told them I want you guys to stay in school until 3 o'clock, they went like, oh, no. And then I said, let me tell you why. And I began to tell them about introducing music, fashion design, cosmetology. That auditorium went, wow. They were excited about it. We got to get excitement back into schools. And those are some of the things I'm trying to do. When a student gets excited to go to school every day, they can be encouraged to learn math, to learn English, to learn science, to learn social studies. We do not have those things in school right now. And we need to bring them into the schools.
And Isaac, I don't want to get you in trouble, as you said, but all those things that you listed require money. And I look in the budget, you have 3 million. And that can go into just internet alone can eat up that 3 million. When you first went, you even started GoFundMe to say, hey, yeah, give me something. Okay. I know it's challenging, and tell me about the ways you are finding around it in the absence of money, and which I see as the lack of priority when it comes to education. Imagine the entire educational system. You're talking about K through 12, university and colleges have just 92 million. 92 million should be just the money for MCSS alone. So how are you finding these creative ways? Yeah. I mean, my kids' school here. How are you finding these creative ways around it to implement everything that you have in your mind in the midst of these very scarce resources and lack of, interest in funding education? I will say it that way.
Look, David, first of all, I would say thanks to my predecessor, Honorable Governor Jacobs, MCSS students pay some sort of fees. So that fees is being used. We use the fees that they pay to better the system. But above all, I want to commend the government of Liberia. I want to commend our president. And through him, I want to also commend the Minister of Education and the Minister of Finance. I'll tell you that the MCSS has been fully funded, it's been prioritized, and the government has been very supportive of our plans, our programs, and our agenda. I also will say this to you, that we do not just sit down in the MCSS office and hope that the government will provide us all the resources we need. I've engaged every foreign mission in Liberia. I am reaching out to every international non-governmental organization. I've engaged businesses in Liberia to the extent that I've publicly on several occasions that businesses that do not reach out to provide assistance to the MCSS and schools in general in the Monrovia area, I will label them bad businesses and will run a center spread in the daily newspaper to label all of those bad businesses. And I'll tell you, the businesses are responding. Shortly, I will be having a press conference with a major internet service provider in Monrovia to unveil a massive program that we have finally concluded on. Massive program, never heard before in the history of the MCSS, will be unveiled shortly with a major internet service provider. And I'm on the backs of ArcelorMittal, I'm on the backs of Beer Mountain, I'm on the backs of Petro Trade, all of them. I'm telling them, you got to do more for our school. So we doing a whole lot of things, and we're engaging the parents of the community. Recently, the Parents Teacher Association gave me 1.5 million Liberian dollars to start the process of constructing the annex to elevate the Bozeman Junior High School to a senior high school. There's also a member of the House of Representatives, Abu Kamara. He donated 500 bags of cement towards the construction of that school. And then I had the Ministry of Education also donated 50 bags. So we're engaging people, we're engaging businesses, we're engaging international organizations. And shortly, I'll be coming to join you guys in the United States. Mr. Goyah, I will get to you. I'll be sending a letter to you, but I'll be traveling across the United States to help take my message of getting people to come and identify the MCSS. So we're not just depending on local resources, we are expanding it. By the way, let me give a shout out to my school, the Arlington Career Center. Just sent us 35 laptop computers on the way already, should be arriving in Liberia by the end of June. And there's another 25 laptop computers that will be reaching my house this weekend for my wife to ship to Liberia again. All our donations from the Arlington Career Center in Arlington, Virginia. And it's planned for them to even follow up and come next year to visit and see the work I'm doing and see how they can be of more help to us. So we're doing all those things. I want to encourage you all to encourage your communities, your school districts where you live. Good. To make the MCSS a friend and identify with us.
So I saw this coming when the superintendent started looking at me when he first came on, that I know he was going to be coming. But you know where I stand with that. All joke aside, Liberia is our home. I didn't go to MCSS, but I got a lot of family members that benefited from the MCSS. And I think because the MCSS was strong, it made private schools strong. They had to compete. So I have to say the background that I got from private school was because of the successes of the MCSS. But I got a question for you, though. You know, we're talking about extending the school day to 3 o'clock, which is a great thing, and talking about bringing all those things. Is there a feeding program in the schools? Because we know, once you now know, when a child is hungry, it's difficult for them to retain information or even want to be in the space. Is there a feeding program? Are you thinking about reintroducing those feeding programs that used to be in the public schools?
You're a very smart guy. And you know what? You just played some mind game on me. Just today, I informed my senior management team of my intention to hire a health and feeding, the director of health and feeding. It's in the MCSS organizational structure, but that position has been inactive for several years. And then people told me, we don't have any feeding program, we don't have any health program. I said, that's true. That's what I want the person to do. I want them to start it. So I want that person to sit down in the MCSS central office. I want them to be going up to find food, to find institutions that will be able to help out with the healthcare, so that by the time we open we open it for the 2022-2023 school year, we have some sort of feeding program. I 100% agree with you. We need to be able to feed students at school. So I'm engaged in that. Recently, the Ministry of Education launched a school feeding program in Grand Bassa County. We'll be working along with the Ministry of Education in that direction to see how we can benefit from that also. But yes, we are addressing the issue of feeding program. Look, in fact, by the way, one of my initiatives is to get every 3 to 5 year old child into the preschool. Every 3 to 5 year old child. I've done my analysis. I believe that within the MCSS area, we have about 700 children that can be captured. It would cost around $67,000 to put 700 children into schools and provide feeding for them free of charge. At the moment, those kids have been charged $9,500. A poor parent would not pay $9,500 for a 3-year-old to go to school when they can still sit home and their mom can put them in the back. You know, they wouldn't do it. And so I'm saying, make it free and let them eat and have everything they need. And so that's one of my initiatives. I've told my principals at those levels, I want you to adopt a Jehovah Witness style approach to getting every 3 to 5 year old child in school. I want kids to come to school on time in Liberia so they can graduate on time. And so those are all. And so I want to tie that with the feeding program also. That's one of the reasons why I'm appointing this person to come and set this thing up so the kids will be able to come and eat free. Or for the high school kids, it could be subsidized, but it could be almost free.
So Professor Zawolo, before you get to an MCSS school, you are passing by another school, maybe public school or private school. So let's take the MCSS as the word they like to use on LU campus, macrocosm of the biggest school system in the country or in Massarado County. And I'm sure you see the same problem that MCSS schools are facing. That's a problem that you see in other schools. In your view, what do you think can be done? Maybe you are MCSS may be fortunate to have you, or are these other schools? I mean, what has been done to help solve these problems that you are facing? And thank God for you that you are providing that leadership. What do you see in the other schools?
Well, overall, the Ministry of Education has been taking some very significant steps in the full implementation of the Education Reform Act of 2011. Some of the problems our schools continue to face is the problems of lack of enforcement of that act. On that act, for example, there was supposed to be an academic center of excellence that was supposed to be able to credential teachers and license or accredit institutions. That law has not been implemented since its enactment. That part has not been implemented since its enactment. So I just left a meeting. I just left a whole week of work along with the Ministry of Education, where we were developing credentialing and licensing procedures manual for the country. That will be very helpful in addressing some of the problems that we have at a lot of our schools. People open schools a lot of times with good intentions, but there are those rogue elements who open school with the intention to make profits and fail to deliver what they are supposed to be providing. Other reason is that there are areas where government has struggled to open schools. So as a result, the public, the private sector have come in to fill up the vacuum by opening schools. So, and when they do this, sometimes there's not enough funding to be able to do what it takes to actually run those schools. So those are some of the challenges they have. So we're going to be addressing them by opening more schools. Right now, under this Ministry of Education, under this government, we are opening a public high school in each regional education district. Even within the Monrovia area, I realized, and I took it to government, central government, and I said, listen, look, if you look at 12th Street, all the way to Queensville, Joe Biden, there's no public high school between that area. None, zero. That's a densely populated area of Monrovia. And once I presented them to that central government, they said, go ahead, find a land, and let's start the construction of a high school. So we're going to be putting a high school somewhere around the Oro area. So we're building schools all across the country. The Ministry of Education is engaging in a lot of things. Recently, we equipped, and I say so because I'm part of the educational leadership of the country. We recently equipped all of our county educational officers with the vehicles needed so that they can be able to do their supervision. We equipped our DEOs with motorbikes to be able to enhance the supervisory responsibilities. And we've been visiting schools and doing renovation. We have about $45 million IRAS grant where there have been massive transformation at public schools all across the country. You see massive renovation going on. So we are working on it. We still have a long way to go, but I think this government must be given credit for doing several things. One, acting on provisions of a new education law of 2011, and also providing access to education where there was none.
So you struck on a theme here of accountability, right? What is accountability from people that are opening new schools and private schools or whatever? Let me ask you a question. What are you doing? And if this is not a situation in MCSS, please let us know. But what are you doing if it does exist to weed out these rogue elements who come and masquerade as teachers, who come into our public school and private school system for anything but the noble cost of education? So we're talking about people who exchange grades for favors, sexual favors, or financial favors, people who are not competent or qualified to teach the course that they have taken upon to teach. What are you doing in MCSS? Because I don't want to put a whole of Liberia on your shoulders. What are you doing in the MCSS to ensure that A, the door is closed to those people entering the MCSS, and B, that you're weeding out where you find such people in the system?
Well, we are kicking them out. First of all, I've just the National Commission on Higher Education will be my witness. I just referred to the National Commission on Higher Education, an individual who has been working for 21 years on a fake degree. Fake. I recognize the degree to be fake. I'm referring to the National Commission on Higher Education. It was confirmed that the degree was fake. That person is on the verge of being fired. And I'm seeking restitution from him for the extra money he received above his pay grade. He had a high school diploma, and he was getting an associate degree salary. So I'm asking for restitution. So we are weeding those people out. There's another case I had recently again of an individual who refuses to teach for government, but goes into his account every month and take a salary, a master's degree salary. We identify him, and he's also on the chopping block. So we are identifying that we do not have a big of a problem like that in MCSS, but right now we are doing, we've completed 2 phases of audit of our employees. 2 phases already have been completed. We're on the 3rd phase, the 3rd and final phase. So the 3rd and final phase is verification now, wherein we have the data from 2 different groups that went into the field. 2 different groups went into the field. And so now, we restructured our human resources department. We put a lot of money into it. I have a consultant. He's from the Minnesota area, Clyde Wilson. He's doing a wonderful job. So he has restructured the entire human resources system. And so now we are going certificate. We are looking at employees' files and the rogue elements. And as soon as we identify them, we are going to dismiss them consistent with the standing order of the civil service. So we are doing all of those things. But the MCSS is in a far better shape than most other schools because, I mean, even though they didn't have a robust HR system, they had something that was, that could help to minimize that. But, no matter how strong and, tight that system is, there will always be people who can infiltrate it. So we're identifying them. Like today, yes, we identified 3 individuals that were receiving salaries far above the educational qualification. And they were immediately stopped. We cut it immediately. And then some of them were begging that it took long already and stuff like that. But in fact, I'm not just cutting it. I'm seeking restitution. I'm seeking restitution for you knowingly receiving a pay that you're not qualified to receive. So I'm asking for restitution. I wrote 3 letters today asking for restitution. So we're identifying those rogue elements. Another thing we are doing also, I've already fired 1 teacher for being in an inappropriate relationship with a student. And I'm investigating a second one. No, in fact, I fired 2. No, I forced 1 to resign. I fired 1. And then I'm investigating the 3rd one. And we have a 0 tolerance. If the child is under 17, is under 18, automatically we go for statutory rape charges against you, whether the parents agree or not. So we've created a zero tolerance for bribery and everything on the school. You know, I spoke with some of my principals today, and I told them that I received information about certain activities going on, and I'm going to keep my eyes open for that. And once I find that, I'll be very stern in taking action. So we are really doing well to weed all those rogue elements.
And Professor Zawolo, you need partners in this kind of thing, and cooperation from authorities, you know, across the board. But let me bring in Mr. Prince Momba in Prime FM, who for any comment or question. But what is the level of cooperation you are getting, you know, from those who are supposed to help you in that regard?
I'm getting massive support. I'm getting massive support. But here's the thing, you know, whenever you bring a new chief in town, when a new chef arrives, there has to be a process of renewal, rethinking and redoing, reimagining, and how things are done. So I'm giving my people some time to transition to the new direction we are taking in. Some of them are responding, some of them are responding at a pace that I would love to see enhanced. And so we are monitoring them. We've already committed clearly to our principals, our teachers, that there'll be realignment and reassignment of teachers and principals to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the institution. So those who are not keeping our pace with what we are doing might be positioned where they can, you know, function rather cautiously, or maybe then we can look for other options, you know. So that's what we are doing.
Thank you. Prince?
It's also great, like I said, it's great for you to join us tonight on the show. So I got a few questions, I got a few concerns. I'll start with three. I'll ask them one after the other. So, Prof, let me ask a straight question. You know, I mean, you took office, I think that was around December or November, if I'm not making a mistake. But, I mean, in the delivery statement, when you were asked, you said you are rebranding. I mean, there was a complete collapse of the system. So the place was dead, even when Dennis showed a video of the William Vietnam High School. So the question I want to ask, if one would ask you, what could be, I mean, what could you say about your predecessor, the previous administration that you took over from? What would you say? I mean, what they were just there and nothing happened? In terms of, I mean, performance.
I think he did. My immediate predecessor, I think he did what he could do. I'm not going to judge him yet. I'm not the one responsible for evaluating him, so I wouldn't evaluate him. All I would say to you is that the situation I met there, I had to work on it to improve it.
All right. So the next question is, you also said you are receiving support from government. When you had a budget before us here, you had just 3 million there for your operation. I mean, so how does that happen? If the national budget that should be, I mean, for everybody, for all sectors of government, you just have 3 million there. How does the government support your program? How does that happen? I mean, even though you'll be depending on external resources, but the national government should be in a position to provide the necessary resources for your operation.
Government has contingencies. Budgets always have contingencies. I don't know, but I will tell you the truth. I was able to build one modern science lab. I was able to provide fencing for 4 schools. We've brought in ACs in almost every office in the central office. We got in vehicles. Building schools, preparing roofs.
That means outside the application.
What?
So I mean that money that you are talking about doing all this outside. It's outside the budget, right? Which is good.
What is most important is that it's very interesting. Interesting in seeing the school looking different.
I know wherever the money come from, you don't get. Sorry.
I want to improve the system.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, Prof. I mean, the beginning of this academic year, there was this scandal, this corruption scandal at the William V. Tubman High School, where the office of the registrar was broken into, and an amount of Liberian dollars, 2.5 million, allegedly 2.5 million was taken away from the registrar's office. There was an investigation launched into that, and they didn't take much you took over. Have you any idea on that? If have you, what is the finding of that investigation?
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. I received information about that theft after I took over on December 17th and returned to the United States to complete my teaching semester. I received a call from the press about that. And I asked the press to slow down until my return to the country. Immediately upon my return to the country, I began to engage the Liberian National Police on the directions of the investigation. It's stonewalled. And so I took it to another stage. I requested the Liberian National Police that the inspector, the detective assigned to the case should be removed and replaced. That request was granted. We have new detective on this case, and 2 days ago, the detectives were in my office. They are very close to completing their work. That's what they told me. They did not name any suspect, but they have had hours, more than 1,000 hours of investigations. They have spoken to about 15 to 20 persons on multiple times. And so they told me that they are very close to making a final report. They were in my office about 2 days ago or so. And so they are very close to, making a report. That is a very important case to us. So we are closely monitoring that case.
All right, thank you. My students have been following it. So, like I said, I've graduated from the Columbia Tubman High School, so I've been following that case. So, finally, from my end, before I come back to Dennis, so what can you say to Liberians? How does the system look like now? The MCSS system in this country, how does it look like now? All that you said, I mean, I too here in Liberia, I know the various schools. I can go to the William V. Tubman High School, I can go to the Booster, I can go to the GW Gibson, I can go to T12. So, I mean, what can you say? And then the next thing to that question is school administrators can inflate the registration fees for MCSS schools. Have you any idea on that? I mean, have you any punishment for that? Because as a journalist, last year, a former member of mine went to register in one of the MCSS schools. They are not called this radio, and they charged $8,000, which I know it shouldn't be.
That's not true. That's not true. It's a representative who sent me, somebody purportedly sent him a MCSS requirement for. It was amazing how very creative. It was totally not true. We investigated. It was not true. If you know of any school that is charging above what the government allows, just let me know. That will be the last day that person worked for the MCSS. But besides, if you listen to some of my utterances in public, I am pushing government to make MCSS school totally free. Totally free. I'm asking the government of Liberia to provide me $670,000 to cover all the fees the students are paying. That's what I'm asking for. And the school will be totally free. Look, MCSS has the capacity to host about 40,000 students. Now, our official record says we have about 17,000 students. I don't really believe that. I think our enrollment is around 20 to 21,000. So that's something I'm also investigating. I will be having my auditors go in the field to do the audit shortly. They are doing some other audit right now, and then after that, they're going to be doing the student audit. So I believe if we make the school free, we'll be able to get, look, we have some challenges within the education sector. Over age, you got 25, 23, 24-year-old children in staying high school. You got a 8th grader who is 19 years old, 18. I had 2 girls, 14 years old in the 1st grade. The way we address this problem is to make the school free and to get the kids into school as early as possible. So I've been pushing so hard to make the schools totally free. And I tell you, one person that I know supports my idea, two persons I will tell you for sure, the president and Mr. Senator, the Minister of Finance. The only thing is that I can find a resource to implement that. So we're looking for the resource to meet. But to just find any MCSS school that is charging above what the ministry is required, and that school, that principal will be in serious problem with me.
So can I come in on there, Dennis? Because
Yeah.
I think Prince is saying something, and I like the vehemence with which the professor is saying that it's not true. But let me ask you a question. If I were a student in that corridor from Pinsville to Tottenham High, and say I found a school somewhere and I went to, how do I know if I'm being charged above the acceptance rate? Where do I go to verify what the rate should be? Is it on the MCSS website? Because I'm bringing this up because information is currency. Where do people go to get those information? Because I was on your website and I didn't see any such thing. So can you please speak to people so they know? Because then that would take away most of those misinformation. If I can pull out in real time and say, here is what MCSS says I need to pay, and these are my requirements for being admitted into a school.
So first of all, the website was conducted after I took over. School was already in section. They never had a website before, or they had one that was taken out. But also, here's the thing: I have said to my MCSS people that information and the moving of information, the spread of information is extremely important. So for the next school year, we'll be pushing that kind of information in multifaceted formats. All right. Right now, I'm compelling them to build database of students, of teachers, of principals, so we've been getting all of those things built. And so we'll be pushing those information in multi-platform. We'll be using social media, we'll be using our webpage, we'll be using a WhatsApp, text messaging, and all of this information will be broadcasting the information to a wider audience. So there'll be no way anybody can trick the people. But yes, as the school year transition to the new school year, you will see on our website the fees that have been charged, the cost of uniforms, and all those things will all be posted. But our website was built after I took over, and those fees are already been charged. And every allegation brought to our office concerning fees that have been charged above were totally false. And we investigated everyone. And sometimes I'm confused. But do you control the public schools in Monroe? There is an instance wherein you have the Sizi Elementary School and the BWP Prime. They share a couple of things, but the BWP Prime is owned by the Ministry of Education and Sizi owned is run by the MCSS. So sometimes people get those things confused, but MCSS school is not part of what happens.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go to comments and we'll take calls. Prince, get ready. But let me read a few comments here. Orita Paleto said the MCSS superintendent is very hardworking, dedicated, honorable superintendent. Is all inclusive. He's all inclusive and knowledgeable. Thank you. And Alfred says Alfred Wissa, the honorable superintendent appears to be very innovative gentleman in his quest to comprehensively revamp all schools within the MCSS. I must thank you for his effort and vision so far. And then we have an educator here, Elaine Sabasi, make reading a national priority. Teach phonics from preschool to grade 3. Look at the curriculum. Make sure teachers are not only teaching students to decode words, but comprehend. Teach reading comprehension. When students are readers, they become good writers. Those are from Elaine Saba, who's also an educator. And if you want to join the conversation, the number is scrolling in the ticker there. You can call locally when you're in Liberia, Prime FM 105. It's 077100051 if you are anywhere in the US or somewhere in the diaspora, you can call our conference call number. That's 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. Friends, please go ahead and announce our local number.
So the numbers to call in for on the program is 0770-1051, 0770-1051. Better still, you can call 0777-05-3336, 0777-05-3336. So you can ask question or make comment. The guest on the show tonight is Professor Zawolo, who is the superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, MCSS for short. We have caller on the line here. Let me pick it up. I see. Good evening, your name, where you call us from? What? Go ahead. Ask a question or make a statement. All right. So 1 minute. Just hold the line. Professor, are you getting the caller?
No, not clearly.
Not clear. Oh God, this is a problem I'm having.
It's the problem. We'll continue.
You guys hear him?
Go ahead, caller. Make your point. I'll amplify. Thank you so much there for your comment. Call us on 0770-1051, 0770-1051, Better State 0777-05-3336. So, Prof, the caller against a commendation telling you thank you for the vision you brought. He followed you, even though he's according to him, he has not seen you. He's the president of the alumni association from the G.W. High School, and so that's what I'm gonna say. It's not a question, but just tell you thank you for what you're doing and your plan for the MCSS schools in Liberia.
Thank you, Prince. Let me bring on a caller here from the States. And Professor Zawolo, what you need to start thinking about, my question is about the, Sizi always tell me the school is a whole community, right? You have the parents, you have the teachers, you have even people passing in the street, you have the churches, you have alumni association. Now you are blessed to have alumni association in the United States that have the money. So how are you trying to harness all this and make everyone work together? But keep that. Let me bring on our caller here, Mr. Aliyu Samba Kamara. Aliyu, you are live. Question or comment, sir?
Yes. Thank you for having me. Let me say, thank you for bringing Professor Zawolo on. There's something about we from the local background. We just got brave. Anyway, look, let me say that I was honored when I first heard that finally, and when I was very few rational minds appointed Professor Zawolo to the right area. If they had appointed him to the Ministry of Education, that would have bothered me. Because then he would not have the opportunity to actually exhibit his ingenuity, the innovation that he has to offer. So where they put him was the right place. My only problem is they kind of did it too late. I wish George Weah would have made this appointment from the beginning of 2018. By this time, we would have gone far. Because I want to say thank you for the level of openness and openness that you brought brought to the MCSS. You know, the religious thing, you try to play a better role, you don't want to be a part of that whole religious crisis. You say, you know what? If you're Muslim, you want to wear it, then you wear it, you know? And that was very awesome. But this is my suggestion, though. We realized that most of the generation after us, for some reason, do not know their national civics. My friend over there, Dennis, I even wrote a book. I did not see the whole book. I think I saw about 4 pages of that book. And I think they had something to offer. What are you doing, or what do you intend to reintroduce civics in our school system? Because, you know, back when we were growing up, we had civics, and our social studies had a lot to do with Africa and Liberia. Everything has been changed completely. How can you also teach, what should I say, like organization? I don't know how to put that, but how can you also teach children to be more nationalistic as opposed to, you know, this copycat thing? Everybody wants to replicate. People want to dress like Tupac. Somebody want to dress like P. Diddy. How can you introduce in the school, what can you introduce to make the children more nationalistic and respect and value their tradition and culture? And the last thing I want to say is, we have several tribes in Liberia, languages actually. Very large ones. The Pele, the Bassa, those are the 2 very large ones. Are you guys working on something to introduce a Liberian literature instead? Because everything we do, the curriculum either come from Britain or America. Are you putting something together to make these guys or the young generation come to be more patriotic and accept themselves as Africans? And I believe the reason why I ask this question is because I know the kind of revolutionary you are. I know what you stand for, and that's why I'm asking you this question. So now you have the chance to introduce it into our school system so that the kids will know that they're Liberians and they're African first before they're colonial masters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aliyu. You know, the people who can contribute, they can talk long. You give them the microphone, and they will not put anything in the plate. So, giving that value. So Isaac, you got a line laid out there on the table for you from Aliyu.
Yeah, well, let me go to all of the questions. I think Eileen Saba was talking about civics, phonics and all those things reading. Yes, we are definitely working on improving our phonics and reading programs in school, but we do have them, we do offer them. We need to get them to be better. And so those are some of the things we'll be working on during the vacation. I call it my Liberian. People laugh at me and say, don't say summer. Say during the vacation, during the break. So between June and August, we'll be putting teams of people together to see how we can improve on all of those things. Let's come to the civics education. About 3 weeks ago, the Ministry of Education, like I said, I'm part of the educational leadership of education in our country. We launched the reintroduction of civics into Liberian schools. We'll be using 2 textbooks prepared by the Wahala and the Child Steps International. And already, I think the U Movement, one of the groups, U Movement has a meeting with me tomorrow for us to discuss on this whole rollout of this civics in our school. So we're bringing back the civics in our school. And then you talk about patriotism. Yes, it's extremely important. I agree. And that's one of the things I've been teaching my kids, my students. One of the things that people said I brought to the MCSS is my willingness to sit and engage students. So it's like 5:30 in the evening. I'm coming downstairs. And then on the stairwell, I see about 15 students. And my security are trying to stop them. Oh, the chief is tired. He has to go home. Then I said, no, let them come in. So I spent another 1 hour and a half or so with those students. And we are talking and we are engaging. And sometimes I have this opportunity to teach them about patriotism and telling them that, look, I want you to take this across, share the message to your schoolmates and friends. And let me tell you something. It was so powerful, teaching them about responsibilities. So we had a homecoming. That's another answer to another question here, because we talk about how can I bring all of these stakeholders together, alumni and the rest of them together. That's why every year we're going to be celebrating the MCSS homecoming. It's an opportunity for the former students and alumni to come and see what their former schools look like, to be able to contribute and to engage the people who are managing and the students who are also serving at their former school. Those are some of the things we are doing to put all of those forces together. But when we had a homecoming, we were charging $5 for tickets for students. And when I spoke to the student leaders, the MCSS Students Union, they told me Soup would bring the students in drove. And I was amazed. The number of Liberian young students who were prepared to pay $5 United States in this tough country to attend the MCSS dinner, it just warmed my heart. And I'm very positive. It came at the results of more others, about the kind of conversation we're having, about them taking ownership of their schools and being willing to make the first donation before we go and ask other people to help us. So you see, we are doing all of those things, to really get to teach. But I agree, it's very important to teach patriotism. I get down to some of the schools and I see the kids sitting on the arm of the chair just about to break it. And I don't get mad at them. I use an opportunity to tell them of the responsibility to their brothers and sisters who will be coming to the school in future years. And so then we have those kind of conversations. So we are doing all of those things. And I definitely believe that we should teach patriotism and civics is going to be reintroduced into our schools. And so, we are taking those corrective measures. We understand that we went wrong and we're trying to fix it.
Thank you. And Isaac, you got my civic book here. I tried to send it to, I went to Liberia, I went to almost all the school system. Nobody could even take it from me. Let me go to Prince again and talk about patriotism tomorrow on Top Talking Thursday. What does it mean to have love for your country, patriotism and nation building? We're going to discuss it right here on Focus on Liberia. So let me go to Prince. Prince, you have other callers there?
Not yet, but let me get announce the number of callers were on about the draft. Let me get announce the number once more: 0770-1051, 0770-1051, or 07705-3336. A caller is on the line. Good evening. Good evening. Your name? Where are you coming from?
But do you really hear the caller? Because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the callers are clear on the radio. I mean, I'm sure they, except for you, but it's clear. Go ahead. All right.
Prince?
Thank you so much for your comment. So again, Prof, he is one of the alumni of the MCSS school from the Goyah High School. He graduated from there in the 1970s, I think the 2000s. So just telling you, thank you for the work, the job well done. I hope that others will join you, making the MCSS system vibrant in Liberia.
And Mr. Zawolo, is Goodrich part of the MCSS school system?
Not presently, but very soon it will be. We are in the
Okay.
concluding stages of transferring about 9 schools to the MCSS that are within the Monrovia area.
Right.
So
Let's talk
is one
about
of those.
that briefly. What are the schools
Now,
that are part of the MCSS school system, and what are those schools that trying to come in?
the schools that we are trying to bring on would be Ejendon Gurish, Gabriel Poulet, Special Project, Gibraltar Elementary, GW Pearson, BW Payne, Sony Wen Public Schools. So in public school, I think one of the schools I cannot name. But those schools at some point were part of MCSS and were taken away from MCSS. And so now we are going to be, taking responsibility for them. I think we're going to have about 9 schools coming on board. There are about 13 public schools within the Monrovia area, the territorial confines of the Commonwealth District of Monrovia that are not controlled by MCSS. 2 of those schools are controlled by the Ministry of Defense. We have no intention whatsoever of taking those schools to the Ministry of Defense. One of those schools is controlled by the Vice President's office, the group of 77 schools. We have no intention of taking over the schools. So the rest of those schools, I think they were 13. So I said 3 we don't have. Then they were 10. The remaining one is 10. But then one of those schools is in such a state that we may not even want to call it a school. So we're going to be taking over the 9 remaining schools, hopefully, as we begin the 2022-2023 school year.
Thank you. Before I bring in Sizi to ask a live question, on top of the hour tonight at 8 p.m., we're going to have members of the Liberia Chamber of Commerce and a group called Made in Liberia Inc. They are having Liberian Business Expo that's in July. And so they're going to be here to talk about the expo. There's 2 groups here, the Liberia Chamber of Commerce in the Americas and Made in Liberia. So at 8 o'clock, please tune in and listen to them as they discuss the Liberian Business Expo. This Saturday, I'm going to have a conversation with Gospel Minister Abena Johnson. She is US or UK based. She's going to be here as we shine the spotlight on this gospel artist. Mr. Goyah, your final question to the Prof, so we can draw down the curtains if you have.
Yes, sir. So, Prof, we've talked about a lot of good things that are happening, and I know you've probably addressed some of these things. But my question to you is, what are you doing to try to ensure that things that are limited to access? Because you talk about the George Weah government, one of the good things they're doing is providing access to education. What are some of those things you plan on doing to remove roadblocks that are in the system? So you've talked about feeding, right? You've already addressed that. Talking about transportation, for example, if students have to leave between Pinsville and coming, the closest MCSS high school is Tubman High. How do you deal with that? I know you're talking about building more schools, so you've already addressed that. But one of the things I'm leaning more towards is dress code. I saw recently on Facebook where some students at the school in Matadi were put out of school because they didn't have a haircut. They didn't have the proper haircut. Those are limiters to education. So what do you plan on doing in removing some of those systemic limiters that we've had in MCSS and in many schools in Liberia, so that our working poor and our working class students who pick MCSS can still have access to quality education? So, for example, I know Dennis likes to talk about this. When a student comes late to school, is it logical to send that kid home to miss the entire day versus just having them miss that hour that they were late for? Because those, again, will be limiters to having access to education.
And they used to beat us, for coming late. I don't know if they're still beating people.
Especially if you have to fight for transportation to go to school, and then you're late to get to school, and you have to be sent back.
We're not beating students anymore. Look, and you understand. That's been one of my biggest battles I fought. But by the way, the issue of the old Matadi Elementary and Junior High School was resolved between us and between me and myself and Mr. Fubi Hendricks. Immediately after he did, and I conveyed to him that several times. But I also was very open to him that the issue of students for haircut is something is something about. And as a way of ending that, I constituted a 4-man committee, 15-man committee. The committee has completed 2 phases of its work. The first phase, the 15-man panel consists of students, teachers, principals, administrators, central office, 2 religious leaders, members. The rule of haircut, dress code, all those things. I instructed them to think of.
We are having trouble with this connection, right?
I call them to remove those things that are keeping kids from school. And so we are removing them. But besides that, we are even going beyond that, even for the females. We have told the girls that we don't want them to get pregnant. We're going to be bringing family planning back into the schools. When a girl gets pregnant, we'll be having discussion with these girls and not just keep them out. I have a student president who's in school, and she's committed to helping her find resources to carry that pregnancy full time. Guess what? One health is looking for resources, asking private sources to help with funding, to be able to help those students. We're removing all of those things. Rewriting your handbook. I just came out of looking on the girl's head. That she 9 so she passed 7 10 I don't
thank you. The connection is just getting worse.
Yeah. So we're removing those behaviors.
Yeah.
Is it still bad, right?
Right. That's better now. We have we are 7 minutes after the time here. Let me Prince, any final comment before we ask the professor for his final comment?
Yes. So I asked the prof a question as to if you're going to be giving a definite position of grading for a predecessor. What can you say? But in my opinion, I think from what I heard from you, nothing happened much than when before you took over. So I also asked him, where are we now in the MCSS system? I would also like you to just throw fuel up on that. What can you say for all the achievement done so far? What can you tell someone who wants to send a child to the MCSS schools? I mean, what are those things that they Sizi asking? Maybe transportation. I mean, how long should we wait for that? I mean, students going to school, they had to walk. Some of us will walk anyway. That was the time for us. So so far so good. I just want to tell you thanks a lot for appearing on the show tonight. We are here most of the time. I'll pass to you and just to speak and see how things are working. I'm always on the 12th Street campus, William campus, and that's my school. So it's great having you, Prof. It was a wonderful show indeed. I'm sure at the end of the day, some of the things that people were not aware of, they heard in. The issue with the overcharging, or inflating the registration fee. Like I said, I'm not going to call a name, but we are journalists. We hope the schools will open, and we will see people who will be doing the same. And like you said, it will come up to the spotlight. So thanks so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Zawolo. Your closing comments, sir.
Well, thanks, guys, for having me on. You are making a wonderful contribution to MCSS and to the future of our country. It's always an opportunity. I would like to come on and share with you guys. So again, thank you. And I'll be reaching to each one of you separately, on things that you can do to help the MCSS. Personally.
Thank you. Mr. Goyah.
Well, thanks for the show, Dennis, and focus on Liberia. My brother Prince, thank you so much for being on. Prof, my prof, I am in awe of you. I know your talent. I know where your heart is, and you are a rare gem in our community. I hold education dear and dear to my heart. I think it is our way out of most of the things, and it's our only tool that we can use to be competitive. And so to have somebody like you who is centering our student voices. I keep hearing you talking about you having conversation with students, and I'm smiling and I'm beaming because that's what we need. We need people who center our student voices. We need people who center our parents. Because like Dennis said, I always say the school should be the hub of the community. The school is the community, and I see you articulating that, and I see you doing that. I see you on Facebook doing it. My hope is that you continue to do well. I will continue to pray for you that you continue to do well. But like you already said, please reach out. If there's anything we can do, we'll be glad to do that. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you more than you will ever know, my brother, for leaving these United States to go back and help our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, that's great because people leave from here, and the only reason they can go there if they can be minister somewhere or maybe deputy, but all the way MCSS superintendent, and he was able to take that, and he's doing good job. We encourage you to take advantage of what we're doing here. Or take focus on Labrador, for instance. If you go on YouTube, there are tons of materials that the classroom can use. Encourage your teachers to go there. We have debates, we have history, we have literature, we have business, finance, and economics. All those videos are there. Students can take advantage of that, use that. Let teachers also be able to assign their students. These are all resources, tons of resources. And what we are working on, July 26th, we're going to have our virtual July 26th program. Tomorrow we are talking about patriotism. What does it mean to love your country? These are things that students can watch and write an essay or do some form. Again, we are going to introduce a competition. We're going to high school competition in the country from Focus on Labrador. We'll say identify a problem and propose a solution. Take, for instance, the issue of sanitation in Monrovia. We'll have a school say design a project. How do you solve this? And then they're going to compete. The winner will have a prize. Okay, so we're working on that. I'm going to get because I have a whole team behind me that makes me to look good. So they're going to send that to me by tomorrow. A framework of that. And when I say framework, I don't mean CPP framework. I'm talking about framework of that discussion. Because those guys have really polluted the name framework, so we can't even call framework anymore. So they're going to bring that to me, and what we're going to do, introduce it to schools. Maybe we're going to start very small in the Monserrate or Monrovia area, start with few schools, and have this competition so people come up with ways to solve problems, and that's going to be your high school. We want you to partner with us and other institutions as we do this thing. Again, thank you for coming. We want to thank our viewers for always watching Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. By far, this is the best media institution you can find on the planet. And it's doing so much to be able to change the narrative. We don't want to know Liberia only as a war-torn country, Ebola, and all that. Liberia has everything that any country can boast of. We have it right here. It's just a matter of harnessing our resources to make our country a glorious land of liberty. And that's why we are ending with the song that says, we are all Liberians. Whether you are in the MCSS school system or you are from Monrovia College like me, we are all Liberians. And we must do everything to make Liberia that beacon of hope for all people of color. On top of the hour, please come back and let's listen to another show. Again, we are all Liberians. Good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians.